Sukuyanade. Today, this video is going to be about things that new Mando'a learners might find confusing. I'm going to go over about 3 examples. So the first one is many people will look at the Republic Commando songs, specifically Vodeon, and they'll say, well, that line doesn't make any sense grammatically. And they would be right, because it doesn't really. They're made to fit the song lyrically rather than grammatically, so they don't really make sense in the way that they're constructed. But because the songs are so ingrained into the culture, the native speakers, they know what the meaning is because they grew up with it. But the people who look at it from an outside perspective, just translating it, is hard to understand. So for example, the line Sa Kiaram Nautrashin Kad, which the given translation for that is forged like the saber in the fires of death. But directly translated from those words is like death, forge fire saber, which seems like gibberish, right? But to those who know the meaning behind it culturally, it makes sense to them. So another example is in phrases that are, common would be Ibtua Jatnatua Ashad Kiramur. And this given translation is today is a good day for someone else to die. Now, literally it says today is the best day for someone else to kill, which would be a very different meaning to someone who's translating it, because kiramur is kill. Now, the meaning behind kiramur, kir, which means end, and amur, which means change. It's the end change, i.e., death. Now, for someone who isn't familiar with the phrase, they wouldn't understand kiramur in this instance actually means die rather than kill. Because the given translation for die is ashamur, the other change, but the given translation for kill is kiramur, the final change. Now, because they are translating it based on the meaning of the word, they would think that the phrase says, today is a good day for someone else to kill. But the Mando'a who've said this phrase and they know what it means, they know what it's trying to say. The real meaning behind the phrase is, today is a good day for someone else to die. The one final thing that I'm going to mention would be questions where you don't find tion, which is the question indicator. There are a few questions that don't use tion, and these always have me before it, which is short for meg or megin. And now people might get confused and think, well, maybe meg or megin is simply another interrogative prefix that also denotes a question. But this isn't actually the case. Meg it means what, or that, or which, or who, but it isn't actually the question version of what, or that, or who. The reason why they think that it might be an interrogative prefix is because there's no tion in the sentence. But the reason that there's no tion in the sentence is that it's such a common phrase. Like, for example, mevar tigar. The given translation is, what is new with you? But without tion, you might think it says, what is new with you, not as a question, but as a phrase, like, I know what is new with you. That's not a question. But using just mevar tigar, without the tion, if you're new to the language, you would be confused as to why the tion's not there. You would think maybe it's not a question, or maybe meg means question indication as well. But it's not there because it's such a common phrase that native speakers simply drop tion altogether because they understand even if it's not there. These kinds of things are common for new learners to get confused about. And I myself have been guilty of that. I wasn't always a perfect speaker, nor am I still. I'm still not a perfect speaker. Language learning is a process. It requires experience, and over time, you'll learn to speak naturally the way a native would. Even if it's not grammatically correct, that's how the natives speak. Eventually, if you surround yourself with people who speak that way, you'll start saying those things, even if, as you would beginning, from a grammatical perspective, they seem wrong, but that's how they're said culturally, so that means they're actually correct, even if it's not grammatically correct. Anyway, that's all I have today. Thank you for listening. Vorintje.